Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Crackin' Packs video. I am your host, Mr. Bevers. As you can see, I got a little antsy, and I cracked the seal open before I did my intro for YouTube. Since I do all my things on Twitch, I got a little overexcited and got talking about other people. So, anyway, we're gonna get right into things here. I'm trying something a little different today. As you probably noticed, the camera zoomed in quite a bit farther than normal. I'm trying to see if that will help you guys basically be able to read the cards a little better while they're on the desk. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. You guys can let me know in the comments below if you like this format a little bit better or not. So I mean, there you go, you can see all the packs. I'm going to push them off to the side over here like so. You guys can't even see them now. Well, you can sort of see the edge of them here. I can push them in a bit so that you can see. And push them up a little. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. That's not so bad. Alright, we'll pull from this one here. The pack just, like, pulls right apart here. Okay. So. Okay, so we've got a Lifecrafter's Grit, or Gift, a Hidden Stockpile, an Enraged Giant, and our first rare is a Whir of Invention. So it's a 3 blue and an X with Improvise. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It's interesting. Lets you go and put something from your deck out onto the battlefield. It's kind of cool. Energy token, and what have you. We'll put those up there for now. We don't need those in shot, do we? Well, I wouldn't say that he's doing that many, but he is opening quite a few. Okay, so commons off to the side. Scrapper Champion, Reverse Engineer, and a Feldar Guardian, and our second rare. Alright. And Aether Sphere Harvester. I don't know if that lighting's a little bit too harsh. It looks kind of harsh. I wonder if I can, yeah, it's almost a little too harsh. Yeah, well. Still playing around with the lighting as well, so if it's a little washed out, I apologize. I'm trying to get things sorted out with the camera and with the camera and the lighting. I haven't got any LED lighting yet. I've been looking into it a bit, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this is an interesting little vehicle. So a 3/5 for 3 flying. When it enters battlefield, you get 2 energy, so you get 2 energy. And you can pay an energy to have it gain lifelink until end of turn. And its crew cost is only 1. Not bad. 3/5 with lifelink for crew of cost of 1 seems not so bad. Definitely not as broken as Copter was, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So we're looking for Fatal Push, I guess, is the uncommon of everyone's like, oh my goodness, it's like rarer than your mythics, which is weird. So we have a Treasure Keeper, a Monstrous Onslaught, and a Tezzeret's Touch, which leads us into an Aether Geode Miner. An Aether Geode Miner. So there it is. And that light is way too harsh still, eh? Okay, so there you go. Not a bad little card. It's a 3/1 for 2. When it ever attacks, you get 2 energy. Pay 2 energy. and you exile it and return it to the battlefield. Interesting. It's a nice little energy mechanic, you know, way to generate a large amount of energy. Can't really complain about that. I'm gonna see if I can fix the lighting, fix the camera, I should say, make it not so friggin' washed out. Okay, so Gremlin Infestation, Skyship Plunderer, Efficient Construction into a Metallic Mimic. It's a nice little card. I think I like this guy quite a bit. I haven't played with him yet or anything like that, but he seems like an interesting card to play around with. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if he sees any play in Constructed or anything like that. Okay, so we got a foil in this pack. Restoration Specialist. Cogwork Assembler. Reverse Engineer. Into a Kari Zev, Skyship Raider. This is an interesting little card. A 1/3 for 2 with First Strike and Menace. And whenever it attacks, you get a legendary 2/1 monkey creature that named Ragavan that's tapped and attacking, and you exile it at the end of combat. It turns on the whatever the new thing is. Revolt? Revolt. It turns on your Revolt mechanic very well. And our foil is a Dawn Feather Eagle. We'll put that right over there. All shiny and new, you know? I don't know if you guys can see that properly or not. Focus doesn't seem to be too great over there, but we'll see. Still trying to play around with the camera settings and that kind of stuff. Obviously, I have to sort out the lighting and the exposure and all that kind of crap still, too. It doesn't seem to be too great. Daredevil Dragster. Thopter Arrest. Sly Requisitioner. And a Greenbelt Rampager as our rare. So he's a 3/4 for 1. Then when he enters the battlefield, you have to pay 2 energy. If you can't, you return him to your owner's hand, and you get an energy. It's interesting. So on turn 1, you can drop him for 1 mana and get an energy. Put him back in your hand. Turn 2, you can play him for a green mana and return him back to your hand and get an energy. Turn 3, you can have a 3/4 for 1 mana. It's interesting. Doesn't seem like the most efficient way to play him, but also a 3/4 for 1 mana, if you have any way to get 2 energy by turn 2 and play him on turn 2 for 1 mana, it's not bad. A 3/4 for 1 mana. Hidden Herbalists as our first uncommon. Consulate Dreadnought. Perilous Predicament. And we got a Free Jam Regent. So this is a 4/4 for 6 flyer with Improvise, so you can get it out a little earlier than 6 mana. And it has something that's like, I guess, fire breathing, but not as good, because you have to pay 2 mana as opposed to 1. So it's not as versatile. Put it that way. It's not as versatile because you don't get to pump per mana. You have to spend 2 to pump it at all. Now, it's pretty much the same in the aspect of you get 2 power for 2 mana, and maybe it's a little better because you get to spend not necessarily just red mana on the pump. But, at the same time, okay, we've got a Gonti's Machinations. We've got a Narnam Renegade. It's a card that a lot of people are looking for. A nice little 1/2 for 1 with Death Touch. And Revolt, where it comes in with a 1/1 counter on it, so it can basically be a 2/3 Death Touch. Spire Patrol. and a card, Karizev's Expertise. So the Expertise cards are all kind of interesting. I don't know if this one specifically is that great, and the only reason I say that is because this one is basically just like Active Treason, and you get to play a 2-cost card. Active Treason doesn't really seem like a rare to me. I feel like they could have probably made a better red card than Active Treason play a spell. But maybe someone will find a place for it. Maybe someone will find a place for it. These packs are very, like, they just kind of, like, rip apart here. Gremlin Infestation. Skyship Plunderer. Maverick Thopterist. Into an Oath of a Johnny. Okay, so there's our... I don't know, like our, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th rare? That's our 9th rare. There you go. Nice little Oath of a Johnny. Can't really complain about that. I mean, I need copies of it for one of the decks I'm trying to build, so I'm happy to see that. Happy to see that. Okay, well, okay, so here's a misprint. I may not have caught this if I wasn't paying attention, but you can see that right there. The D in Demolition looks like it had something on top of it when they printed the card. So there's like a void in the name. So I don't know if that'll be worth anything, but there are people out there that collect misprints and things. It's not a huge misprint, but it is a misprint nonetheless. So there you go. It's kind of an interesting little thing. I don't even know how I caught that, to be completely honest. Just kind of caught my eye as I was scroll past it. I was like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. A Daredevil Dragster, Efficient Construction, Airdrop Aeronauts, and a Quicksmith Spy. So a 2/3 for 4. That when it enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains tap it, draw a card as long as you control this. So essentially you get to turn one of your artifacts into tap it to draw a card, as long as the Quicksmith stays in place. So that's not too bad. It's an interesting little thing. Sort of a lack of foils and a lack of mythics so far. It's interesting. We're basically a third of the way through the box, and we haven't seen a single mythic yet, and we've only got one foil. So we got an Aeronaut Admiral, an Untethered Express, a Sly Requisitioner, and our rare here is a Pia's Revolution. So 3 mana enchantment that says whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has Pia's Revolution deal 3 damage to him or her. It's a very interesting card that's going to see some interesting play, I think. So we'll see what people make out of that one. And we got a foil, Lifecraft's Awakening. So just a little foily foil there. Okay, last pack from the first third of the box. We are now a third of the way through the box. Gonti's Machinations, Narnam Renegade, Sly Requisitioner. I need to like get this into frame properly here. Jesus. Okay, Consulate Crackdown. So 5 mana cost enchantment from white that says when Consulate Crackdown enters the battlefield, exile all artifacts your opponents control until this leaves the battlefield. That's an interesting card. This will see sideboard play for sure. That's definitely an interesting one. And we got, whoa, yeah! That's so nice. I'm so happy about this. This is my favorite island art, and that's a foil. And I opened so many boxes of Kaladesh, and I didn't get a foil of this island. So I'm super stoked about that. That's awesome. It's so pretty. Look at the lines. Like, just the water lines in amongst the sand are all foiled. Oh, man. Look at how beautiful it is. It's so nice. I like it. I like it. Most impressive thing out of the box so far. That foil island right there. For me, anyway. I mean, I guess the misprint is kind of cool, but... I'm not really a collector of misprints or anything like that, so for me it's kind of... Outland Boar. Hey, there's our first Fatal Push! We finally found one. So this is like a $4 or $5 uncommons right now. Now, obviously, this price will go down quite a bit as people open up their product, but still, pretty crazy. We'll put that just here with the daring demolition misprint. And we got a Pima Aether Seer. And our rare is a Midnight Entourage. So the Midnight Entourage is a 4-mana cost 3/3 that says other Aetherborn you control get +1/+1. Whether your Midnight Entourage or another Aetherborn you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Interesting. It's an interesting rare. Okay. Ornithopter, good old Ornithopter. Foundry Hornet. Another Fatal Push. Alright. Good stuff. And we got a Battle at the Bridge. So this is a 1 black with X, and it says target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, and you gain X life. I should say not and, but if there's a period, stop, you gain X life. And it has Improvise, which means you can tap basically any number of artifacts you want to pay for the X cost, or to pay for the generic cost. So, in this case, it's the X, so you could, pay black and, like, let's say 4, and then tap 3 artifacts. 7. Not bad. I honestly don't know what are good pulls out of this set yet. I haven't done enough research on what's good and what's not. I can't believe we haven't hit a mythic yet. That's kind of an interesting thing. A Narnam Renegade. 2 Fatal Pushes is pretty good, though, from what I understand. Weldfast Engineer, Perilous Predicament, and a Spire of Industry as our rare here. So it's a land that adds a colorless mana, not a generic. And it says you can tap it and pay a life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, activate this only if you control an artifact. Which is not terrible. I'm sure that it'll see play in a bunch of the artifact decks. If Tron is still a thing, then maybe it'll see play there. I don't follow Modern very much anymore myself, so I don't know if Tron is still a high-powered deck. We got an Outland Boar, Renegade Wheelsmith, Hungry Flames. Hey, it's our first mythic. We got a Herald of Anguish. So again, since I don't know too much about the set's pricing yet, because I haven't really looked into it, I don't know if this guy is crazy good when it comes to value, but I do know that I played against him in my pre-release, and he kicked my butt. He was not something that I wanted to have to deal with. My opponent played him, he had durable handicraft, and played him and put a 1/1 counter on him, so he was a 6/6 flyer for 7. That made me discard cards. And then you can just sack artifacts and give stuff -2, -2. So he just started wiping my board with a whole bunch of servo tokens, which was not fun. Which is not fun for me. So I didn't really get to do much after that guy hit the board. I was stuck on 5 lands when he played it, and I had Saheeli's Artistry in hand, and I had to discard it, and it sucked a lot. It was not very fun. I was like, oh no. Shielded Aether Thief, Hidden Stockpile, Enraged Giant, and Inspiring Statuary. So, this is a 3 mana cost artifact. This is non-artifact spells you cast have Improvise, which basically allows you to pay for their generic mana cost with artifacts. Kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Good for this sort of set, right? Since there's lots of artifacts around and lots of cards that you probably want to be able to give something like Improvise to. Ravenous Intruder, Shielded Aether Thief, Barricade Breaker, and a second Aether Sphere Harvester. Interesting. So we've got 2 of these now. Okay. I mean, it's not a bad vehicle by any means. I don't know if it's good to see 2 of those, but who knows? Who knows? Okay, we got a foil in this pack. Ornithopter, Foundry Hornet, Thopter Arrest, and we got a Baral Chief of Compliance. So he's a 1/3 for 2 that says instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Interesting. And our foil is a Destructive Tampering. Okay. The lighting is really not doing so great in this video. I really need to fix it. Let's open this pack and then we'll see if we can play around with it. And then maybe I'll cut the YouTube video up and try to get it working properly. So that maybe the second half is more enjoyable, you know? Treasure Keeper, Vengeful Rebel, Lifecraft Awakening. Okay, we got our second mythic, finally. A Mechanized Production. This card seems interesting. 4 mana cost aura that enchants an artifact that you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that is a copy of that artifact. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game. There are a lot of artifacts that you can pump out early on in this set. Like pumping out servo tokens, and then just putting this on a servo token, and then just basically keeping that servo token alive for a turn, and you win. Because you have, 10 servo tokens or some nonsense. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing you could do. Now, it might not be very easy, but it's definitely a thing you can do. We'll stack up the rares a little bit better here. Okay, let's see if we can get the... let's just take a quick second here. Okay. Alright. We're back, everybody. We're back. Okay. Let's get into this now. Hopefully that cut will work okay for my video for YouTube. I hope that's the case. Okay. Maulfist Revolutionary, Rogue Refiner, Reckless Racer, and a SRAM's Expertise. Okay, so this is a 4 mana cost, create 3 1/1 colorless servo artifacts, and then cast a card with 3 or less. Okay. And we got a swamp and a token. Alright, we're almost 2/3 of the way through. 2/3 of the way through. And this video is going to be really long because I've been talking about all of the things, and I apologize to everyone, but it's more so for purposes of seeing the cards and reading them, Ravenous Intruder, Shielded Aether Thief, Hungry Flames, and a Merchant's Dockhand. I promise all my other videos of this set will be a little bit faster because we'll just skip through the commons and uncommons and get right to the rares and stuff. So Merchant's Dockhand is a 1 mana cost 1/2 that has a blue and 3 generic tap. Tap X untapped artifacts you control, look at the top X cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's an interesting little card. And we got a Tezzeret emblem. Cool, cool. Be nice to get a Tezzeret. I'd be okay with that, you know. I'm not going to complain about it if we got one. Let's move this all up a little. How about that? Let's just kind of get everything a little bit more organized, right? Make it look a little bit neater so you guys can see what's going on. Oh, that's outside of the frame, isn't it? There, how's that? Better, eh? That's a little better. Oh, let's get that out of here. Alright. Still only have 4 foils and 2 mythics. Skyship Plunderer, Aerial Modification, Pacification Array, and... okay, we got another mythic, Gonti's Aether Heart. There it is. 6 mana cost. When Gonti's Aether Heart or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 energy. Pay 8 energy, exile Gonti Aether's Heart, take an extra turn after this one. Okay. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting little card. Taking an extra turn seems interesting. So, do you think we're going to get to the invention? Let's find out. Treasure Keeper, Barricade Breaker, Thopter Arrest, and a Call for Unity. So this is a 5 mana cost white enchantment that has Revolt that says at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call for Unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call of Unity. It's neat. Okay. There seems to be a misprint on that card as well. I don't know if that's... oh, it's just... something stuck to it. Not a misprint, it's just had a little, like, piece of glue or something stuck to it. I don't know. Okay, we got a foil in this pack. Trophy Mage. Oh, Restoration Specialist, I should say. Servo Schematic. And we got a Peace Walker Colossus. This is a vehicle I haven't seen yet. So 3 mana cost, 6/6. That has a white and a generic. Another target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Interesting. So you can make your other vehicles turn into creatures without having to crew them. And then this guy's a crew 4. That's kind of cool. And our foil here is a Gifted Aetherborn. I've probably been saying ether this whole time instead of aether, and probably shouldn't have been said like that, but anyway, whatever. 1, 2. Okay, we got another foil in this pack. Invigorated Rampage, Salvage Scuttler, Siege Modification, and our rare, a Yahini's Expertise. Okay, so I was talking about this in one of my other videos. This is a very good card, because for 4 mana you give everything -3, -3. 1 less than Languish, I'll give you that. Not -4, -4, so it doesn't kill as many things. However, you also get to cast a card with 3 or less from your hand after that effect has taken place. So the -3, -3 happens, you wipe the board, and then you get to play a creature if you want. Or whatever. on turn 4. You can really change the tempo of things. And our rare, or our foil, is a Silk Weaver Elite. We got an ad card there. Okay, we're down to about like 8 packs here. We got like 8 packs left. A Deft Dismissal. Airdrop Aeronauts. Crackdown Construct. And our rare here is a Quicksmith Rebel. So for 4 mana, you get a 3/2 red creature. That says when it enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains tap this artifact, or tap. This artifact deals 2 damage to target creature or player for as long as the Quicksmith Rebel stays in place. So you get to turn one of your artifacts into essentially a shock, which is kind of cool. How did you get over here? Get out of here, thing and stuff. Get out of here. Get out of here, thing. Nobody wants you on the battlefield. No foil in that pack. Gonti's Machinations. Servo Schematic. Airdrop Aeronauts. Into an Aid from the Cowl. Okay, so it's a 5 mana cost green enchantment that has Revolt that says at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it on the bottom of your library. And it says may. So does that mean if you... So you may put it on the bottom... you may put it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent. If not, you may put it on the bottom. Which means if you choose not to put it on the bottom, it goes back on top. Because it's revealing the top card. It's interesting. It's interesting. Okay. Okay, so foil in this pack. Ironclad Revolutionary. Lifecrafter's Gift. Monstrous Onslaught. Into another Mythic. Wow, so that's 4 Mythics. Exquisite Archangel. A 5/5 for 7 with flying, and if you would lose the game, instead exile this, and your life total becomes your starting life total. And our foil? An Ironclad Revolutionary. Still no foil rare, which normally you expect to see out of a box, but we have not. We have not seen this yet. Renegade Rallier, Ravenous Intruder, Ridgescale Tusker, into a Yeheni, Undying Partisan. So a 2/2 for 3 haste, legendary creature, vampire. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on Yeheni, Undying Partisan. Sacrifice another creature. Yeheni gains indestructible until end of turn. Interesting. Kind of a little cool rare. That's an interesting little rare. Interesting for good for a vampire deck. I'm okay with that. I'll add it to my vampire deck. We got a Winding Constrictor, Siege Modification, Windkin Raiders, and a Disallow. Okay, Disallow's not bad. I shouldn't say it's not bad. It's very good. It's a very good counterspell. Basically allowing you to not just counter a spell, but also an activated ability or a triggered ability, which is interesting. Now, of course, it costs 3 mana, but it's, the sacrifices we make, We're down to 5 packs. Down to 5 packs. 5 left. I'm sorry that this has been so long. Deft Dismissal. Reckless Racer, Illusionist's Stratagem, into a Dark Imitations. So a red, a black, a blue, and 2 generic. Sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, then discards a card. You return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand, then draw a card. When you cast a Bolos planeswalker spell, exile Dark Imitations from your graveyard. That planeswalker enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it. Huh. Interesting. That's an interesting one. I don't know if I understand, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, we got a foil in this pack. Ironclad Revolutionary. Lifecrafter's Gift. Crackdown Construct. And we got a Rishkar's Expertise. This card was killer in the sealed pool. Like, it's just insane. You get to 6 mana, you play this card, you probably draw somewhere between 3 to 4 cards for 6 mana, and then get to play a card from your hand out of what you draw. Pretty much anything. Unless you draw all 6 drops, which is unfortunate, I guess, but not bad. And then a Precise Strike foil. Little instant. Okay, we're down to 3 packs. 3 packs left. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. Come out of there. Cards. We still haven't seen a foil rare. No foil rare in this box yet. Gifted Aetherborn. Ridgescale Tusker. Tezzeret's Touch. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. This is a very good card. I had this card in my sealed pool as well. Dear me, this card is great in sealed. It's probably good outside of sealed as well. Basically getting to scry every upkeep is pretty solid, and then getting to draw cards when you play creatures for 1 green mana is pretty awesome in a green deck. And our foil? A foil Aid from the Cowl. So there you go. We got our foil rare finally decided to show up. There he is. We're down to 2 packs. 2 packs left. 2 packs left. This video has gone on very long, and I apologize to all of you on YouTube. But such is the life when there's a new set, you know? I try to do my first unboxing where it's a little bit slower and I talk about the cards and I read off the names and the abilities. Winding Constrictor. Monstrous Onslaught. Renegade Wheelsmith, and a Release the Gremlins. I had somebody play this against me in my sealed as well, and it blew up a bunch of my things, including my Bestiary, and it made a bunch of red goblins, which were not great for me. It didn't go well. It didn't go well. Very powerful in a set like this, due to the fact that there are a lot of artifacts. There are a lot of artifacts in this set. Okay. Weldfast Engineer. Gremlin Infestation. Consulate Dreadnought. And our last rare. Oh, it's a mythic. Look at that. A planar bridge. It's a nice way to end the box. Obviously, it's not the Invention planar bridge, but that's okay. That's fine with me. So it's a 6 mana cost artifact, legendary artifact, that says tap 8 generic and tap this card. Search your library for a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield. Shuffle your library. Let me go get my Ugin. Would have cost me 8 to play it from my hand, but now I can go get it out of my deck. Don't mind me. I'm just going to go ahead. Interesting. It's an interesting card. That puts us to 6 or what, 5? 5 mythics? Let's look. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mythics, 2 fatal pushes, and a misprint. The misprint is the demolition here. You can see the D on the demolition is got like a weird line where the ink isn't covering it. Let's see if I can get it in there close. There you go. You can see there's like a void in the black ink. So, not a huge misprint, but also at the same time, people enjoy collecting those types of things where there's misprints and things. So who knows? Maybe someone will take it, or maybe Wizards will replace the pack for me due to one card being a misprint. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. If you could like and subscribe. I'm sorry that this video was a little extra long, but I swear to you that the next Aether Revolt stuff that you see, which will be me opening up my case, will not be as long. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video.